Welcome back, dear learners. Today we are starting with a new chapter. The chapter's name is Primary Activity from the book Fundamentals of Human Geography. Now, before I tell you what are primary activities, let us step back and see what are human activities. Now, you already know that the people have to depend upon an activity for their survival and also to lead a comfortable life. In short, human activities that generate income are often termed as economic activities. So basically, there are five kind of activities or occupations which people follow to earn their living. These are primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary and quinary sectors or quinary activities. So we will start with the first form of human activity, that is your primary activity. Now, what are primary activities? In fact, if I say the most earliest form of survival, when there was no technology, there was no development, people directly dependent on doing primary activities. So primary activities are those activities which are directly dependent on the environment, as these refer to utilization of earth's resources such as land, water, vegetation, building materials, minerals, etc. In short, what I mean to say is that people who are doing or engaged in primary activity, they are directly utilizing the resources of the environment such as land, water, etc. Now also remember, people who are engaged in primary activities are referred to as red collar professionals or workers because of the outdoor nature of the work. In short, means they are working outside, that's why they are referred to as the red collar workers. Now, let us see the classification or the types of primary activities that is practiced throughout the world. So, primary activities can be classified into the following, as you see, 6 categories. These are hunting and gathering, number 2, pastoralism, number 3, forestry, number 4, agriculture, number 5, mining and quarrying, and number 6, fishing. Okay, so these are the 6 categories or types of primary activities. Now, what will we do is that we will see the characteristics and the distribution of these activities in the world in detail. So, the first form of primary activity that we are going to deal will be your hunting and gathering. So, let us start with the first type of primary activity, that is known as hunting and gathering. Let us see the characteristics and the areas where hunting and gathering is practiced today. Now see, the earliest human civilization back to 12,000 years ago, people were directly dependent on the environment for their sustenance. Okay, they were hunters, they were gatherers. They used to hunt down animals and they used to collect edible plants. Okay, so in short, they were directly dependent upon their wild environment. Now, the other characteristic of hunting and gathering ye hai that they used to live in or adapt themselves in extremely harsh climatic conditions, whether it be cold or hot climatic areas. Okay, people in the coastal areas today, still today, they catch fish. Although fishing as an activity or fishing as a primary activity has today become commercialized because of technological progress. The earliest people, they used to use tools, spears and bow arrows to kill down animals. Okay, so in short, the earliest form of activity was hunting. But do you know that today hunting has been banned in most parts of the world, also in India? So today, according to an estimate, only 1% out of 1 lakh they are engaged in hunting. Okay, so today it is no longer an important means of survival. Why? Because the society has progressed. We are now shifting our focus to other forms of economic activity. Okay, now see the next form of economic activity, जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं gathering. Now gathering is still practiced today. Now it is practiced in regions which has again harsh climatic conditions, as I said. Okay, like the cold and the very hot areas. Now, what are the characteristics of gathering? the people who are engaged in gathering, जो gathering करते हैं, they generally depend on the gathering stuffs to satisfy their food, their shelter, their clothing. The next important characteristic of your gathering is that this type of activity requires very small amount of capital investment and operates at a very low level of technology. Means you do not require a huge capital investment and you can do gathering without any technology as well. Whatever is obtained through gathering, the yield is very low and little or no surplus is produced. Okay, they do not have any surplus to sell it in the market. Now let us see where is gathering practiced still today. In fact, hunting and gathering practiced till today. Now as you see, your gathering is practiced in your higher altitude, as I said. Okay, your lower latitude regions. Now higher altitude area includes your Canada, northern Eurasia and southern Chile. Let us have a look at here. Okay, your Canadian regions, okay, these practice your gathering. The lower latitude regions includes the Amazon basin, northern fringe of Australia. Okay, here Amazon basin. Okay, the northern fringe of Australia, Papua Guinea, that is Indonesian islands, some interior parts of Southeast Asia, okay, including some parts of Thailand, Africa, Canada, and the higher latitude, that is Eurasian areas. They practice your activity of gathering still today. Now today gathering, जो gathering है आज के टाइम में मार्केट ओरिएंटेड हो गया है एंड कमर्शियल हो गया है, क्योंकि गैदरिंग्स के जितने भी प्रोडक्ट होते हैं जैसे कि वैल्यूएबल प्लांट्स लाइक लीव्स, बार्क्स, मेडिसिनल प्लांट्स, दे आर प्रोसेस्ड एंड सोल्ड इन द मार्केट. फॉर एग्जांपल, your cinchona plantations are used to produce quinine, and quinine is a source of medicinal extract for the treatment of malaria. Similarly, they utilize, or the gatherers, they supply leaves such as leaves for beverages, for drugs, for cosmetics, for fibers, for thatch fibers, etc. The gathered products like nuts are utilized for food and oils, and the tree trunk, they are used, or they yield rubber, balata, gums and resins. So you can say today in the modern times, gathering has become market oriented. However, gathering is losing its form or base. Why? Because the products that are sold in the market today are becoming your synthetic in nature. मीन्स द गैदरिंग प्रोडक्ट्स जितने भी होते हैं वो इंटरनेशनल प्रोडक्ट्स या मार्केट प्रोडक्ट्स से कम्पीट नहीं कर पा रहे, क्योंकि मार्केट में आज के टाइम में सिंथेटिक प्रोडक्ट्स इंट्रोड्यूस हो गए जो बेटर क्वालिटी के होते हैं एंड एट लोअर प्राइसेस, एंड देयर बाय व्हाट हैज़ हैपेंड, द पीपल हु, द गैदरर्स हु आर सप्लाइंग दीज आइटम्स, दे हैव बिकम लेस वैल्यूएबल in most parts of the world. Okay, so the products that are obtained from tropical forest, okay, they are not able to compete in the international market, and in your nutshell, the economic activity or the form of gathering is becoming or reducing in number day by day. Okay, so this was all about your hunting and gathering. Let us see the second type of your in fact प्राइमरी एक्टिविटी, जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं pastoralism. Okay, now see pastoralism. Now what happened, जब hunting and gathering करते थे लोग, धीरे धीरे सोसाइटी प्रोग्रेस हुआ, and at a particular stage people realized that you cannot only depend on hunting as a sustainable activity. So what happened, these people started keeping animals or domesticating animals. So people, what they started keeping animals like goats, cows, etc., and they started living in different parts of the regions. Okay, now pastoralism is, in short, it means domestication of animals. Okay, and this particular pastoralism today, it's practiced either for your own survival, own subsistence, or to be sold in the commercial market. Now, there are two kinds of pastoralism. One is known as nomadic herding, the other is known as your commercial livestock rearing. Okay, so remember, pastoralism has been divided into two important activity. One is known as nomadic herding, the second is known as your commercial livestock rearing. So chalo dekhte hain nomadic herding. Now, who are nomads? Nomads are people who move from one place to another place along with their cattle. Okay, very simple. So that form of activity is known as nomadic herding, or it is also known as pastoral nomadism. Okay, now nomadic herding or pastoralism is a type of primitive subsistence activity. Primitive, why primitive? Because they generally use your old technology, and this is also being done from very ancient period of time. Why subsistence? Because nomadic herding is done only for your own survival, for your food, for your clothing, for your shelter, tools and transport. Now ये जो nomadic herders है वो क्या करते हैं? They move from one place to another place along with the domesticated livestock. Okay, depending upon the quality of pastures and water. Means they are moving from one place to another place in search of pastures. Pastures means grazing ground for the animals, and water. This is how they do not permanently settle down in one area because of harsh climatic conditions which do not allow the nomadic herders to settle permanently in a region. That's why क्या होता है वो move on करते रहते हैं depending upon the climate etc. Okay, so they are moving from one place to another place. Now you also may be interested to know what kind of animals do they generally domesticate. Now in different parts of the world, different types of animals are domesticated depending upon the climatic conditions. So in tropical Africa, okay, cattle are the most important livestock. In Sahara and Asiatic desert, the nomadic herders, what do they domesticate? Sheep, goats, camel, etc. And in the mountainous areas of Tibet and Andes, yak and llamas, and in the Arctic and subarctic areas, reindeer are the most important animals. Okay. Now what does these animals give them? They give them sustenance. Okay. They can domesticate, or they keep the animals for the food, okay, for the milk etc. As you are able to see it in the figure, that nomads taking the ship up to the mountains. Okay, so these are nomadic herders. Now let us see where is pastoral nomadism practiced. Okay, so let us have a look out here. First of all, pastoral nomadism is generally practiced in the Atlantic shores of North Africa, eastwards from the Arabian Peninsula into Mongolia and central China. And also the second region is the tundra region of Eurasia and parts of Southeast Africa and Madagascar. So let us have a look at figure 5.4. Okay, so as you're able to see, okay, it is practiced in these areas, that is your Atlantic shores of Africa, okay, your southwestern part of Africa, your Arabian Peninsula, your China Mongolian region, and this particular tundra region of Europe. Okay, so it's very important that when you are studying your any activity, it's important to study the distribution. Okay, now see. Now another important characteristic of nomadic herding is that sometimes क्या होता है is that the nomadic herders, they migrate from one season to another season, and that type of migration is known as transhumance. Remember, this is very important, transhumance. Now what happens is that during your extremely summer times, okay, the herders, they migrate from the plain areas to pastures on the mountains. Okay, they are migrating from your plain areas to the mountainous areas during summers, and again what happens in return back in your winter time, since it's very cold in your mountainous up higher altitude regions, they come down to the plain areas. Okay, and this particular movement or migration from the plain areas to pastures on mountains during summers, and again from mountain pastures to plain areas during winters, is known as transhumance. Okay, now this is generally practiced in your Himalayan regions, means during winters and summers, and the people who practiced, okay, these are tribal peoples who inhabit the Himalayan regions. They are known as Gujars, Bakarwals, Gaddis, and Bhotias, who migrate from plain to mountains in summers and from high altitude pastures in winters. However, in the tundra region, जो extremely cold climatic regions है, above that, okay, what happens, यहाँ पे nomadic herders, they move from south to north in summers, okay, since it is extremely hot in your summers in the southern hemisphere, so they move to the north, and from north to south in the winter times. Okay, as you know, north is very cold during the winter times, so they come down along with the animals in the south. Okay, so this activity is known as transhumance. Now let us talk about the pastoralism or pastoral nomadism as an activity today. What is the position currently? आज के टाइम में क्या हुआ है is that the people who are engaged in nomadic herding are reducing in number. Why? Because of a lot of factors, because of economic, social, cultural, political changes which have forced these people to change their lifestyle or do some kind of other economic activity. Okay, so today, according to an estimate, the population or the people जो nomadic herders है दुनिया में, वो है approximately 1.5, okay, to 2 crores only. Okay, this is one fact. Now why is that the number of pastoral nomads, okay, जो लोग nomadism करते हैं, वो जो herders है, वो reduce क्यों हो गए? Okay, and जो एरिया है जहाँ पे वो लोग प्रैक्टिस करते हैं nomadic herding, वो भी टाइम के टाइम रिड्यूस हो रहा है because of these two factors, that is imposition of political boundaries and new settlement plans by different countries. Okay, now things have changed. Okay, technology has come up, nobody wants to do nomadic herding and survive. It doesn't yield much money, so what is the ultimate role? That they are changing their lifestyle. Imposition. Okay, now it's the some of the areas, they have imposed political boundaries which do not allow nomadic herders to cross that area and to go to another political boundary and graze, make their domestic cattle graze out there. And also there are settlement plans. Okay, now countries are developing, expanding, urbanization is happening, so there is today lack of pastures. Okay, you require a pasture ground where the animals can graze, that is reducing in number. So that's why again your pastoralism as an economic activity is also reducing in number. Now what can be done to evade that? Okay, so another type of pastoralism which is also domestication of animals is commercial livestock rearing. अब देखो, nomadic herding में क्या होता था, the herders used to move from one place to another place, but remember in commercial livestock rearing, the herders do not move from one place to another. They have a fixed place where the animals are domesticated. Now the characteristic says that the commercial livestock rearing is more organized and it is capital intensive. It's organized and you require a investment to establish a huge farm, then to keep the animals. Okay, then you require machines, you require health facility, that's why it is capital intensive. Now what happens in a commercial livestock ranching, what happens is that there is a huge farm. Okay, huge farm. This particular farm is divided into partials, various partials like this, and it is fenced around, fencing लगाया जाता है in and around. Now each partial में क्या होता है, animals रखा जाता है, यहाँ पे pastures होते हैं, grazing ground होते हैं. जब यहाँ का pasture खत्म हो जाता है, then they move on to the another parcel. Okay, and this maintenance requires investment. And this kind of commercial livestock rearing is usually practiced in Western cultures or your Western countries where they have investment, capital, etc. Now remember, another important characteristic is that in this commercial livestock rearing, only one type of animal is reared. Reared means पालना. Okay, उसका देखभाल करना, only one type. लेकिन nomadic herding में क्या होता था? They used to keep all sorts of animals, sheep, goats, etc. Now the important animals that are kept under this form of commercial livestock rearing includes sheep, cattle, goats, horses, etc. ठीक है, इनको पाला जाता है, इनको रियर्ड किया जाता है. अब इनके जो प्रोडक्ट्स निकलते हैं जैसे कि मीट, वुल, हाइड्स, ओके, यू नो दैट, स्किन, इसको प्रोसेस किया जाता है एंड साइंटिफिकली पैक करके इंटरनेशनल एंड वर्ल्ड मार्केट्स में बेचा जाता है. इसीलिए इसको कमर्शियल लाइफ स्टॉक रेयरिंग बोलते हैं. मीन्स यू आर डोमेस्टिकेटिंग एनिमल्स फॉर कमर्शियल पर्पजेज लाइक सेलिंग द मीट, वुल, हाइड्स, skins. Okay, now remember, in a commercial livestock rearing, animals are kept on a very scientific basis. Okay, scientific basis means important emphasis is given on the breeding, genetic improvement, disease control and health care of the animals. Means when you're keeping an animal, you have to take care of the animal. Okay, उनके ब्रीडिंग का ख्याल रखा जाता है, उनके जेनेटिक इम्प्रूवमेंट का ख्याल रखा जाता है. ना व्हेन दे फॉल सिक देयर इज़ हेल्थ केयर फैसिलिटी, डिजीज़ कंट्रोल, ताकि उनमें बीमारी ना फैले, वो टाइम टू टाइम चेकअप करना ज़रूरी होता है. इफ़ दे आर हेल्दी दे विल प्रोड्यूस गुड एंड thereby that is good for the commercial market. Okay, so this is all about your commercial livestock rearing. Now, where is commercial livestock rearing practiced? So it is practiced in countries, especially developed countries of New Zealand, Australia, Argentina, Uruguay, United States of America, which are very famous for your commercial livestock rearing. Let us have a look on this map. If you said areas of commercial livestock rearing, okay, as you see, it's New Zealand, okay, United States of America, Argentina, okay, that's your Uruguay, parts of Africa, all right, okay, and your parts of Asia also as well. Okay, so these are generally the developed countries. Now just an extra information for you all. Okay, as I told you, they require fodder, grass, okay, well feeding system. Now suppose, let's say they are domesticating a cow. Okay, so we have modern breeds of cows which can give more milk, like Holstein, Jersey, brown Swiss are kept and reared under this. Okay, as I told you, commercial livestock rearing emphasis only on one type of your animal, either it may be cow. So these varieties of cow, that is Jersey, brown Swiss, are reared since they give enough milk and it is very commercial based. Okay, so the future of commercial livestock rearing can be great, and it is a modernized kind of commercial activity. Okay, so this was all about your pastoralism. We talked about the nomadic herding and we also talked about the commercial livestock rearing. Okay, so we have covered two important primary activity. One is your hunting and gathering, the second one is your pastoralism. Now in the part 2 of the next video, we will discuss about next form of primary activity, that is your agriculture. So stay connected.